I swear these other podcasts are just a waste of time. I'm skipping through them, I'd rather listen and change my mind. Wes and Nick always help me through my daily grind. Your favorite guys, your favorite lines, change my mind. I swear these other podcasts are just a waste of time. I'm skipping through them, I'd rather listen and change my mind. Wes and Nick always help me through my daily grind. Your favorite guys, your favorite lines, change my mind. Yeah.
Nick, this is a little bit of a spin-off from our last week's intro question. It kind of sparked me a little bit here.
Okay.
You were a bullpen pitcher.
I was a bullpen pitcher, yes.
Right? You came out of the pen.
Yes, sir.
You got the old hook out there.
Yeah.
This doesn't exactly work for you because this isn't a conditional question. What was your bullpen music? My question was, what would your bullpen music be? I think that's always a fun question we kind of ask each other.
Okay.
But you can like literally answer this.
Okay, so I had a mix of songs through my career. When I was in summer ball, the only time I got to pick my song, I picked Animal or The Animal by Disturbed.
Okay.
Loved Disturbed in high school.
Big Christian bass band.
Yes, I didn't know that until well after
I didn't know that until a couple weeks ago, actually.
Was it because I told you that? Okay. Yep. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. And then I was also... I had 1 year where I had Flash Gordon.
Okay. Great one.
Yes, that one was my worst year ever in baseball, ever.
Really? Was that at the collegiate level? Or
at the collegiate level, yep. That was my junior year of college. That was miserable. But then outside of that, I was a Dropkick Murphys guy through and through. Sophomore year and senior.
A la John Papelbon?
Yeah, pretty much. A la John Papelbon. Shipping up to Boston. And I was in Chicago, so it was like I was the only mask guy there, so it kind of worked.
Right.
But if I was to pick it now, it would probably be... I would say The Vengeful One by Disturbed.
Okay.
Wes, if you had a bullpen song,
yes.
What would it be?
Well, I would be a lefty specialist coming in just for one hitter because that's all it would be good for. I know you didn't ask me that question. I just figured I'd share that. But it would probably be, I love this song. You probably won't know it. It's a very obscure song. It's Simon Says by the rapper Faramonch.
Faramonch?
Yeah, if you give it a little Google search, it'll come up. It's a very great song. A lot heavy bass. Another one would be Renegade by Styx.
Huh.
By
I'm not a Styx guy.
Well,
yeah,
it's the Pittsburgh Steelers thing. They sing it. And it's like, the jig is up. Da, 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 I finally found it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, but it's the slow build up. And it's like, whoa, mama. And then you come in and then you kind of hit the jog to it. Like, I think that'll be good. And then another one, hip hop head that I am. Public Service Announcement by Jay-Z. It's kind of a Tom Brady move, but I love that song.
Yes.
Great song that always pumps me up.
See, the thing about picking out a walk-up song is you got to make sure, and we're all talking bullpen right now.
Just
anything. We're not talking about as a hitter, because there's a difference as a hitter. You get a limited amount of time, whereas a pitcher, you have like a minute and a half or so.
You give a few fist bumps. You say thank the guy who opened the gate for you, and then you get out there.
Exactly.
Right?
But you got to make sure when you pick the song, you have to find one that kind of fits your personality, both as who you are off the field, on the field, and like how you are as a performer too, like how you pitch. Like I had one teammate who walked out to "God's Gonna Cut You Down" by Johnny Cash, and I'm sure, I don't know if that's the actual name of the song, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He threw very hard. Like, you gotta, if you're gonna do that, you have to shove when you go out.
Right.
Like, you can't, like, I couldn't have early on in my career, couldn't have walked out to that. Didn't throw hard enough. It just.
And I think there's two approaches you could take. You could do it for yourself, right? And that's the case that you're talking about with your buddy there, or with yourself with like shipping up to Boston. Or you could just do it for the laughs, like the funny kind of ironic thing. Like I always think of Shane Victorino.
Yes.
And I know that kind of had like Hawaiian kind of like beachside feel.
Yeah.
Every little thing's going to be all right, but it worked. But it got the crowd jazzed up and everything too. Like the crowd loved it.
Exactly. Before we continue forward, Tim, I'm trying to find the link for the YouTube live stream. I'm having trouble finding it right now. Do you know where it is?
Should be right on the WBSM stream. If you hit refresh, you might have to search WBSM live in YouTube.
Oh, that's what it is.
YouTube was giving me a little bit of a hang up with that the other day.
Oh, well.
Looks like they haven't fixed it yet.
YouTube's being cranky.
Well, while Nick's doing that, producer Tim, your entrance music?
Or
do you want to sit on it for a little bit?
No, without a doubt, it would be the Stone Cold Steve Austin theme.
Oh, just shattering glass.
Yeah, you hear the glass breaking, you know what's coming. Yeah,
the rattlesnake,
That's the thing. Like, I wouldn't want anybody, like, if I'm coming in as a relief pitcher, I don't even want them to see me warming up in the bullpen. I don't want them to know I'm coming out.
You want the lights to go dark.
And then you hear the glass.
Yeah.
And then everybody you get the big pop and everybody knows that I'm coming out. Not that it would matter because I wouldn't
And then
be
somehow
any good.
you'd work your way out through the stands. Oh, Austin's coming through the stands.
My God, that son of a bitch.
Yeah, and then you get the spotlight coming around, kind of circling around, trying to find out where he is. And then there you are right there. You got a 6-pack in hand.
Yes. And
That'd be
then,
nice.
that's when I call for the ball. That's what I'll do. I'll just do like the Stone Cold beer.
Sure.
Like throw me the beer.
You go to third base, you give up the middle finger. You go to first base, you give the middle finger to the crowd, and then
Then I'll throw what I think is a strike, and the ump will call it a ball, and I'll say, "What?
yeah,
What?"
there we go. That's it. Well, if you're still listening, welcome back to episode 9 of the Change My Mind podcast.
And you're better than me because I still can't find the live stream. Tim, can you share it with the Twitter account? The
No,
Change My Mind
this
podcast.
computer's way too slow.
Okay, well, can you find? I'm trying to find
We're
it. Right
efforting. We're efforting here.
now. Okay, well, I mean, I gotta talk to you. I can't keep
Right.
looking
Well,
for it.
yeah, I know it's tough. I'm talking and chewing gum at the same time. I know what it's like. For those of you who may not know, my name is Wesley Sykes. Across the table from me
Nick Fryer.
is Nick Fryer, perhaps the John Oates to my Daryl Hall.
Wow.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Yes. And
Some
this,
would say that.
I would. I would say that. And this is 2 sides of the same coin.
Or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know how it works.
That's the other name of our podcast.
Oh, is it?
That could be.
I could-
AKA.
Some would say it is.
Yeah, some would.
This is
I
episode
might.
9.
It's episode 9. And we're
Yes.
going to be talking to you about the best Parks and Recs characters ranked.
Oh, and we
Right.
got some bad ones mixed in there
Yeah,
too.
we'll throw some bad ones in there, but this all kind of started. Well, we'll get into that a little later. But let's hop into the news and notes portion of the show.
Well, it's funny that Tim brought up the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing because that's the first kind of along the lines of the first thing that we wanted to hit on today.
Right.
Was not too much on the sports side, but Rob Gronkowski
New England Patriot tight end.
has announced that he is retired from the National Football League.
Right.
And we all believe that he's going to go into the acting profession,
Yeah.
wrestling, something to that effect.
It's also some sort of acting.
Yeah, some sort of acting. And they have, was it Raw, Monday Night Raw at Boston? I'm watching it over your shoulder, Wes, just to
That's
make
right.
sure nothing happens in the course of the recording of the
And
show.
I really don't want you to focus on what I'm saying because I didn't really come to the table prepared today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's it. Disregard me telling you I had 5 pages of notes before that. That was all just to throw you off.
Oh, okay.
And make you a little nervous.
Good. I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know what?
it
Honestly, I knew better, Wes. I know you don't prepare. You're more of a fly by the seat of your pants kind
Exactly.
of guy.
That's where I thrive off enthusiasm.
You're one of the Dukes brothers. I've never watched it. I can't really say, but oh, look at that. I see. I wasn't the only one having problems with the computer.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, so it's not just a me thing.
I figured people don't want to watch me bent over while you're talking.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I
could
guess
do
they
that.
can see you in the camera, assuming that they could find the link in that unlike myself. Anyways, back to
Yes.
Gronk. So,
Yeah.
Wes, do you have any ideas for him?
So
acting-wise?
now, I'm a big superhero fan, as are you.
Oh, you are? I didn't
Yeah,
know
so
that.
I came up with a couple funny, I think good, possible stretches for characters that you could play.
Stretches.
Yeah, like it's kind of a stretch, but I think it could work. Like maybe I'm kind of fitting like a square peg into a round hole sort of thing.
Okay.
But the first one that came up to me was Shazam.
Okay.
Because he's a big kid who's obviously muscular, who's just a big goofball, but he has the superhero qualities about him, but he's really just like a 6-year-old.
Yeah, if he had retired a year sooner, maybe it would have worked out for him.
Yeah,
Because
right.
I'm hearing good things about it so far. The early
I
screenings.
know. I'm kind of excited to hear about it. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see it. The other one is Hulk, right? That was the early one.
Yep.
Oh, Gronk smash ball. Bizarro Superman. On those same lines, where he's kind of like an O for not really fully formed.
And he wouldn't even have to act to play that role.
Right.
Just like with Shazam.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's just kind of him.
Yeah.
This one took a little bit of digging. But how about Flex Mentallo,
Flex Mentallo.
aka the hero of the beach? This is a very muscular man who just wears a cheetah print onesie or underwear.
Not sure who you're referencing.
And he
at all.
appeared in Doom Patrol comics, and he can basically bend the rules of reality simply by flexing his muscles.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm sure
right?
he could fit into that. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Any
I don't
additions?
know. I don't know anything about that character, but I mean,
No, I don't either.
if
That was
they
a
go and
Google
make a
search.
movie about Johnny Bravo, he could definitely play that.
I could see that. Yeah, absolutely.
I just had another one, and it slipped my mind twice now. Crap.
Oh,
It was another comic book character, I think. I can't remember who it was. It'll come to me later on.
Maybe some sort of villain in like a Rocky movie.
Yeah, if they wanted to remake Rocky 4, he could play Drago.
Right, yeah.
I must break your...
We could do Drago, or he could even do like a Mr. T type thing in Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Because you even get the wrestling aspects with Hulk Hogan in there. Maybe you bring in his buddy Mojo.
Mm-hmm. And now he can fight Creed instead.
Right, exactly.
Oh, look at that. I mean, they just basically remade Rocky 4 already, right?
No, well,
So
this movie's right in itself. I think we should call up someone. Call up Sly Stallone.
He's already listening. We know he's a big fan
that's
of
a
the
good
show.
point. Yeah, we did get that email from him.
I am so pissed that I can't think of what that other one is.
It'll come back to you roughly 11:01.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. What else we got? You talked about you told me about a couple of Netflix movies.
Yeah, some movies that are leaving in April. So movies and some shows as well. So get them in now while you can. The American Pies are all leaving.
Really?
Yes. As is Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. A couple childhood staples for me.
Is it going to be all the Happy Madison movies, you think?
I believe so. Or maybe all like the Adam Sandler ones. I guess that's all the same.
That's the same thing, yeah.
All the James Bond movies. Heat, I Love You Man, Seven, great movie, and Star Wars: The Clone Wars series, and Silver Linings Playbook.
Okay.
All leaving Netflix.
Heat as in the Heat, like Melissa McCarthy?
No, like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
Oh, that one, yes. Yeah.
Val Kilmer, yeah, like the famous one. Yeah, the good one.
I like the Heat too. It's just me though.
It's two sides of the same coin here, right? We both like Heat, just a different.
Yeah, exactly. What were the other ones that you rattled off after Heat though?
I Love You Man.
Okay.
Seven.
What's Seven? I've
Seven
heard of that one before,
is
but I've
Kevin
never seen it.
Spacey, Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Is that the one that came out like the past year or whatever?
No,
bombed at
this
the
was
box
like
office?
1995. It's a
know nothing about
fantastic psychological thriller where Kevin Spacey plays a chilling criminal.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to spoil it too much.
Okay,
It
well,
did come out in the mid-90s.
Oh, I appreciate. Yeah,
Probably right around when you were born.
You're fine. Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, you're all right if you spoil it. But
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I have
But
heard
go
of it,
see
though.
those because those are some good movies. American Pies, like you could probably find those anywhere. Big
For
deal.
$5.
Yeah. Same thing with Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. Again, shaping my sense of humor as a child.
Okay.
But yeah, a couple of things. Go watch
definitely
them while
some-
they're out there. Silver Linings Playbook, I was very late to, but I loved.
Oh yeah, it's a great movie.
Which is like a weird moment. Like you watch a movie like 5 or 6 years after it comes out, and then you want to talk about it, and everyone's like, "Dude, I saw that like 6 years ago."
Yeah, I actually
like they just don't care.
for my on my mind this week, I have a show that it's like this has been out for. The second season has been out since like December or November or something like that. And I was like, I
You're just
tweeted
getting
about
around to it.
Yeah, I was like, I just tweeted about it. But I was like, who gives a damn? Like, but it's been around for a while, dude.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's weird. That you talk about how it's been 5 years you're behind the game, and it's like if you're a few months behind the game, it's like what are you talking about?
Oh, I know you're late, right?
Yeah.
You're like, man,
The trends just keep changing. But
the bus is moving.
the other big thing that came out in the course of in between this show and last was the trailer for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which you're very excited about.
I am. Like I said to you, you got Leo, you got Brad Pitt, you got Quentin Tarantino. You got my money. That's it. The 9th film in Quentin Tarantino's history.
I am very excited to see how Brad Pitt does in this role. If Brad Pitt, I think, look, don't get me wrong, Brad Pitt is a leading man for sure in Hollywood. He's obviously proven that time and again. But I still think he is the best as a 1B in a movie.
Like you think of Ocean's 11 and those type of movies? Yeah.
I think in the Ocean movies, and I think in Fight Club.
Right.
Those are the best examples, because that's when he doesn't have to carry things and carry everybody else. He can just kind of go off, do his thing, be like, yeah, I'm Brad Pitt, and I don't give a damn what you think. I'm the man.
But it's going to be interesting because he's not going to be the hottest guy on the screen. You know, it's him and Leo. Like, I don't think they've ever appeared in a movie together.
Are you talking about hottest guy on the screen as in most attractive?
Yeah, or just like general sex appeal.
Okay. So first, this is not the first time he's dealt with that, because George Clooney is regarded, I think, as the more attractive of the two, is he not?
That's debatable. I might choose Brad Pitt over George Clooney.
I would choose Brad Pitt over George Clooney. But
George Clooney's very distinguished. He looks like he's got his stuff together.
You're right, but I think
Brad Pitt, if you want like a nice romp and like a little one-night stand sort of thing, like he'll have a good story. He's a notch on your belt, so to speak.
I think the average person, though, at least when those movies were coming out, George Clooney was the guy. I always remember George Clooney.
Yeah. He's distinguished.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that. But you're gonna tell me that you're taking. Did you figure it out, Tim? Finally?
Yeah, you want me to just tweet it out?
Yeah, please do. So you're just so everybody can hop in on our Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Leo DiCaprio talk. I am 100% taking Brad Pitt over Leo DiCaprio.
I don't know.
It's not even
Leo's
close.
got the climate change working for him. You know, he dated Gisele Bündchen before Tom Brady did.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. For a long time.
I was not aware of that.
Probably at like Giselle's height, to be honest with you.
But see, that's where you're different than myself, Wes. I think that I look at Brad Pitt and I see a complex individual who is, he's dynamic and he's funny, he's smart.
I think you're describing Leonardo DiCaprio, actually.
No,
Are you confused?
I don't think he's funny. I don't think Leo's that funny.
Are you serious? Oh man!
In comparison, no, I don't think he's as funny.
I think they're funny people.
I'm not saying he's not.
Well, we'll
funny,
have to
he's
watch this
not as
movie,
funny.
and then we'll be able to rate them on like an even scale.
All right, so you can book it that is absolutely 1,000% going to be an episode for us, guys. Whenever that comes out,
It's coming out in July.
July.
Margot Robbie is also starring in it.
She's the most attractive person on screen. Let's be real.
Fantastic.
She looks great. Oh my God, she looks amazing.
But yeah, anything else you got on there?
I have for comics this week.
Yes.
So I know on my pull list I have Batman Beyond 30, The Silencer 15, Hardcore 4. There's only one issue after this week. But the big news, I think, in the comic world is Detective Comics 1000 comes out this week. Action Comics 1000 came out late last year. I know I was telling you too, Wes, that Spawn Comics 301, I think it'll be out this year. I think 295 was either last week or this, but Detective Comics 1000, I think it's as big as it gets. I know Superman is has been around a slight bit longer, but I mean Batman is I think now, maybe since like the mid 90s, he's the reason most people turn to or invest themselves in comics. It's been, I think, the X-Men animated series and then Batman 1 and 2. To see him last this long, this one title. Now, he's got plenty of other things. He's had All-Star Batman. He has Batman still going on. And then there's obviously White Knight. Now there's the Batman Who Laughs. There's a ton of stuff. But, I mean, you can never get enough Batman, and that's the whole thing. And then you have the whole Bat family. Everybody kind of works off him to some extent. For someone who I always liked Batman, but I never fully appreciated everything that he brought to the table and how he worked so well against his villains and the people that he works with and just how they contrast and everything.
And I think it's
amazing to see how far he's come.
A sense of relatability, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to be falling from a planet down into Kansas, become super strong and nothing can stop me and, stop speeding bullets and all that stuff, and I'm not going to be able to shoot lasers out of my eyes or grow claws out of my hands, although I really wanted that for a good period of time.
I'm right there with you.
But we can all be a billionaire orphan who goes off to Asia and learns karate and then comes back to fight crime.
Yeah, we could.
With an indisposable amount of income.
We could all hope to be that lucky.
Right.
Yeah. We could all hope to be that lucky.
That could happen to any of us.
Yeah, the fact that he's a human being and he just relies on intellect and an intense amount of training is what makes him. I mean, he's just somebody,
endless funding.
You look at endless funding.
Yeah.
But you look at him, and I think most people are drawn to him because, in reality, you're lucky in the lottery of life, and you're born into money. Anybody could end up being Batman. It doesn't take anything outside of being a human being to necessarily be him. So
right.
It's obviously a big moment. I don't read Detective Comics personally, but I mean, I may look at this one because I'm sure it's going to be a one-off where it's in a big mega issue too. But
maybe get a lot of crossover action going on there. Maybe.
I'm sure you're going to have everybody in there. You have to. I mean, I'm pretty certain it's going to be a little bit bigger than the normal 23, 24 pages, whatever it is. Might be 3 times that size.
Oh, wow.
But
you can't even do that math.
That would be around, 86? So it's probably maybe even more than that. Anyways, what do you have for me to stay woke about this week, Wes?
Okay. Fake Melania Trump. Now, I don't want to get political on you guys. I don't want to get too political here.
Okay.
But is our President of the United States, President Donald Trump, using a stand-in again for First Lady Melania Trump? That was my headline right there. You like that little inflection? Yeah, is he doing it again?
Okay.
Because he was visiting the tornado-ravaged parts of Alabama earlier this month, And speculation began swirling that the woman claiming to be the first lady, Melania Trump, was in fact not Melania Trump, but perhaps a stand-in.
Really?
Yeah, perhaps like a lookalike. The photos and videos that have been kind of circling the area, they zoom in on her face, and she's got these big, large, oversized glasses, so it's tough to really make out. But if you see the face of Melania Trump, who's a very attractive woman, she has like very high, distinguished cheekbones, and like very high. And if you look at these photos, the cheekbones aren't as prevalent because it's not there. Now, it's a speculation. This is just all hearsay or whatever. This also apparently happened in 2017 as well. That's why this is kind of popping up again. And the president's calling this as fake news and saying that they have doctored the photos and kind of everything, which would be very irresponsible for a media outlet to do such a thing.
Oh, of course.
But the thing that makes it very weird is that when the video clip that he's talking in the press conference when he's in Alabama, he's saying something and he goes, "And my wife, Melania, who is right next to me right here, is a part of this committee." Like, unprovoked, just says, like, in case you were wondering, this is most definitely Melania, who is right by my side.
Do you watch AP Bio?
No. I like Glenn Howerton a lot, though.
So there's the coach finds in the dead crossing guard's jacket, because he was doing crossing guard duties, he finds a $10 bill. And then he's just walking around the hallways being like, totally my $10 bill. Already had this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's definitely not a stand-in. She is definitely standing right next to me right here in this present time. So my question for you, Nick, to wrap this up is, one, do you think Melania has stand-ins for events?
Yes.
And two, if you were her, would you?
Would I have stand-ins?
Yeah.
Yes. And yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it necessarily has anything to do with her husband being the way he is. I just think, I think more because of the role he has.
Well, let's face it, right? So, like, Melania Trump, she probably didn't sign up for this when she started dating Donald.
Probably not.
Right? And all this kind of comes in and out. It's like, oh, great. Well, I got to be the first lady. I got to be all this stuff. And she probably, not passing any judgment, but probably just wanted to, like, go hang down in Mar-a-Lago and, like, sit on the beach down in Florida and, like, all this stuff, And then now she's got to be, like, a voice of a generation.
Yeah.
That's kind of tough. So she's probably like, no, I don't want to go to Alabama. Like, leave me at home. Send someone else to do it.
Yeah. I can't imagine.
And if I was her, I would do that, too. Like, that's a lot of commitment that you don't really have a say in. Like, you just got to go along for the ride.
I'm thinking more of the danger aspect and everything too. But
well, that definitely 100%. But if that wasn't an issue, I still think she would have a stand-in.
I think that issue, yeah. I feel like that comes with being the president of the first lady, no matter what. That you have to kind of factor that kind of stuff in. Right.
But, like, usually you marry someone who's, like, a career politician who wants to go into politics, or it's like that's already, like, defined. Like, this came up out of nowhere, and then now she's asked to do all this stuff. Like, that's a big, like, it's a two-way street, right?
So are you convinced that, I know you're always about just presenting the
presenting
story.
it.
Do you think that she has...
This instance, I don't know. Do I think that she has stand-ins? Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's really a big deal.
No, I don't either. There's like war-torn countries everywhere. Like, we're worrying about whether, like, the first lady's at an event or something.
Exactly. And take out, like, the views of everything else. Just when you look at some of the stuff that Trump does, like...
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. You can't not laugh at that. Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, by the way, this is my wife who's standing right here. This is her.
Yeah, definitely not a stand-in.
Definitely not anybody else. This is Melania. Okay, guys, I'm married. I have a cool, hot wife.
Yeah. She won my Miss Universe pageant years ago or something, right?
Did she?
I don't know. I just what I'm assuming.
I think you're right, though. I don't think that's off.
Let's get down to the main course.
Yes.
What everyone came here for. So this whole conversation started a while back, right? So, Nick, you write for Screen Rant, I believe this was for, correct?
Yeah, this was a Screen Rant list.
And you tweeted out a story that you ranked the 10 best Parks and Recs characters.
I think it was
Was there a qualifier?
No, it was the 10 best. It was the ranking the employees in the Parks Department, the Pawnee Parks Department. So, like, no Chris Traeger, no Ben Wyatt. It's just the people who worked in the Parks Department
specifically
in the course of the show. So that also included Craig.
Right. From the last season, yeah.
He was in there before that, too. It
was 6 and 7 once the Eagleton merger happened.
Yes. I almost threw in Ron Dunn and Tiffany.
Oh,
Tennifer.
Tennifer, yeah.
Tennifer, but they didn't really work
With
in the
3
parks.
Ys, right?
Yes, and then there was also Tom. I forgot about the 3 Ys.
Yeah.
That's right. And then there wasn't there another Tom too?
The
computer.
Yeah. The Tom was the computer, yeah.
Exactly. So I almost threw them in, but I elected to go against that. But anyways,
And I vehemently disagree with your list. I haven't shared this with you. I figured I'd hash this out on the air here.
Oh.
Your choosing of the rankings of the Parks and Recs characters were based off work ethic.
Yes. They're
Why are you watching the show based like whether they do work or not?
There are we have like 7 other lists based on just the characters themselves, like the quality of the characters.
Yeah, but I don't care about like the legal hoops that Leslie Knope jumps through to go get the park made.
That's kind of supposed to, but I look at that kind of as a joke. Like, well, who really looks at it? Like, none of these people are productive other than Leslie. They're all lazy sacks of crap. They're all idiots. Outside of her, Craig, and Donna, those are the most productive ones of them all.
I think you can make a strong argument that Tom Haverford is a budding entrepreneur in town.
Okay, but he was not the most productive person in the parks department. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but he's a hard worker.
It's not. I don't even think.
And you dragged his good name through the mud. I might add. I take a lot of offense to that. I might be showing my hand a little bit early.
And I put Ron Swanson at the very bottom of my list.
Right.
I think rightfully so, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be at the bottom of my list today.
Okay. All right. Good. So you're not recycling your work. I appreciate
that.
No. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's totally different. Totally different. So today we have the 10 best characters on Parks and Rec according to Wes and myself. I also have my 5 worst.
Okay.
Do you have a 5 worst or anything?
No, but I can spin off of you.
Okay, so my 5 worst, I'll go from 5 to 1. Jessica Wicks, who was
the heir to the Sweetums Foundation. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Number 4, everyone from Eagleton. Number 3, which I'm not going to fully count Craig into that, but number 3.
And technically Leslie.
I don't. Well. Hold that thought.
Okay.
Number 3, Brandy Max. So we're not. Wes and I are not just doing.
No, it's the side characters. That's why we have 10.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Brandy Max. I understood the joke.
It was just played out.
They just did it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They did it way too
I
much.
agree.
And I could throw Purd in here a little bit, but
Purd's funny though. Purd gets me.
I feel like Purd was funny. Then he kind of became unfunny, and then he became funny again.
Yeah.
I felt like that. So I wasn't going to throw him on my list. Number 2, Leslie Knope.
Oh, wow.
Not a fan of Leslie whatsoever.
Wow.
I felt like...
Now, this needs a little bit more explanation.
Right. I felt like she was supposed to be she was supposed to be Michael Scott.
Early on
The show, and then she wasn't Michael Scott. And she never became Michael Scott. She was never really funny.
Well, there was a shift. There was a complete shift in the show. Because Michael Schur, who wrote Parks and Rec, was a co-writer... Mose, I believe, on The Office too, wanted to tailor Leslie Knope after Michael Scott. Like I think it's like the first 2 seasons.
Yep.
But then they realized how influential of like a female role that she could have, and then like why be like aloof when you could be this like funny, empowering, strong, like optimistic person. And then the whole reason why we brought this, the whole reason why we brought this up is that they've recently had a 10-year anniversary together. Kind of, to celebrate the show. And it's the first time the cast and crew has been together since the show ended. And they said that was the overall theme of the show, is that what optimism and surrounding yourself in a good environment with good people, what you can accomplish. So that was the overarching theme. And then I think you can see that played out.
You can see that through her, but I felt like, I don't know, I guess I always viewed her as she's supposed to be one of the funniest. I mean, people are supposed to be hilarious, and it's like, hey,
I think she's funny.
You were funny at times, but she's not my sense of humor.
She's low on my top 10 list.
Having said all this, I think that from my second to worst character on this show and everyone above, I would never take them out of the show. I wouldn't even take Brandy Max out of the show. I think they all had bright spots. They brought things to the table. Everybody in Eagleton, as much as they sucked, they were a fun group to hate. They played stuck up very well and everything like that. They all brought something to the table. And as much as I said that about Leslie, I think she's absolutely essential to the show. Wouldn't call her a linchpin. I think she was important. I think she early on was kind of the linchpin, but eventually the show grew past that. Number 1 worst character on the show, who I have no time for.
I know where this is going.
Whatsoever, is Tom Friggin' Haverford, get out of my face.
Why?
For that
What's
guy.
wrong with him?
The most annoying little rat bastard ever. Could not stand that guy.
Wow.
He was so whiny. I hated the, oh, but don't you love me? Like when he, like,
Oh,
that
yeah,
voice
that's
that he did.
hysterical.
Oh, no, it wasn't funny. It
Yeah,
was
that's
awful.
great. That's part of his charm.
The only time that I would ever say I really appreciated Tom, I would say probably 3 times in the course of the show. One was when he helped Ben when he was down on his luck and helped him, had him buy. They did the Treat Yourself Day, and he bought the Batman suit. I thought that was
Great.
a great moment. I thought the whole the book about being a loser. I actually appreciated that a
Yeah,
ton.
sure.
And then I forget the girl he ended up being with.
Oh yeah, the waitress. That he dates and breaks up with and hires her again to manage his restaurant. Yeah, I forget her
The
name
way
too.
that whole thing was, I appreciated that too. Outside of that, I have no use for Tom Haverford.
See, this is what I wrote down now. I won't tell you the number that I have him at, but I'll just run through what I have to say about him right now, and then we can just skip over him when we get to him on my list. A lot of people may not like Tom, but I think he's hysterical. A good guy dripping with douchey qualities, but he's a good guy down in his core. Tom mostly means well. He's an ideas man who thrives off enthusiasm. I can relate with that a lot, like myself. And he's a wheeling and dealing, cashing checks and breaking necks, takes no guff from no one. And he single-handedly would have been behind the Firefest documentary, the Firefest disaster with Jean Ralphio, a la Entertainment 720.
I'll tell you what, that's
His catchphrases, though, like you mentioned, like the treat yourself.
Yep.
Fantastic, right? Like everything that he's, like a lot of stuff that he says is memorable. When he's listing off all the nicknames that he has for things, the chicky parm parm.
Oh, I hate that.
Desserts.
I hate
Desserts
that.
for
No,
desserts.
I hate when people do stuff like that. That's
Trays.
No. Like this is
Sammy's, cool blasters for air conditioner, long ass rice for spaghetti.
Get a migraine from this stuff.
Fry chicky.
No, I hate this stuff. This is why I hate him more than anything.
Tortillas, bean blankies. Come on, that's hysterical.
That one's not so bad. I hate
bean blankies.
I what's that one for? The tortillas.
Tortillas, yeah, or like burritos or something.
The other stuff is what that one's not terrible, but the other stuff is awful, man. The chicky parm. I hate when people
DJ
do stuff
Zumba. DJ Roomba, excuse me. Zumba is
I don't know.
dancing for middle-aged women.
I mean, the whole Entertainment 720 idea. You told me. I think you told me before the show. He's a hard worker.
Yeah, he is.
Entertainment 720.
He's an entrepreneur. He does.
He's an idiot.
The teens, tweens, and in-betweens.
That was a good idea. Entertainment 720.
No.
How do you justify that?
Everyone has a bad start. No one hits it out of the. No one
bad
creates.
start?
No one creates Apple
That's
in one day. Rome wasn't created in one day.
That wasn't just a bad start.
It was a bad start.
That was catastrophically
He makes
miserable.
Tom's Bistro.
Yep.
He beats out John
Which also
Ralphio's
failed.
dad. He wins over John Ralphio's dad, who was his mortal enemy, Henry Winkler. I think he's a good guy, but
those are what bothered me more than anything. I think it's what it was.
hate. I think.
God, that was awful.
I'm not a big Donna Meagle fan.
Really?
She just doesn't. She's there. She's a good side piece, but doesn't like. It's not central to the plot. Not a huge Chris Traeger fan.
Really?
Yeah, I like him. I could do without him.
My body is like a microchip.
Yeah.
A single grain of sand.
But okay, so I've rewatched that show a lot religiously. Like I'm like on 4th or 5th watch through.
He is literally out of his mind.
That gets so tired for me.
Really?
Yeah, the literally thing.
You have no problem with the the literally thing bothers you, but you love the chicky parm. I want to punch him in the goddamn face every time he does that.
He doesn't say it every time.
Oh,
he just says it like once.
Yeah, but every
twice.
time he says it, it's and then but Ann, don't you love me? And then he does
it's
that
hysterical.
voice. I know he does it in other instances, but it's the one I think of every time. That voice, man, just shut up, Tom. Just somebody cut him out of the show. Have
I
him
get
die.
it. I get he's not a fan favorite. I understand that.
No, I think
he's
people.
great.
I think people do like him. I don't.
No, everyone I talk to, at least like a lot of the people I talk to, I'm in the minority on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I like everybody else that you talk to.
Right.
Whoever that some people is that you refer to.
A guy, he's not on my list. I liked him, but again, goes against the optimistic positivity mindset is Mark Berdanowitz.
Oh, he sucked.
See, I didn't mind him. Like after a couple of rewatches, he grew on me. At first, I didn't like him either, but then I gained an appreciation for the fact that he's the only like negative person in the show.
Okay. Okay. Well,
You know, and then you see like that, and it's like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. Then you see why he couldn't go, and then obviously, Ben Wyatt comes in and like totally steals, replaces him, and then everyone forgets about him. But I liked him in those 2 seasons. I didn't think.
I think he was a little too dry. He just didn't mesh with everybody.
You want to go like 10 to 10, 9 to 9?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. Lead us off here.
You want me to lead off?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
So number 10, I'm going to go with a supporting character. I have a soft spot for this actress, and I'm drawing a blank on her name, the actress's actual name. But the character is Jen Barkley.
Oh, yes, I know. I forget her name too.
The campaign manager.
She's from Step Brothers.
I'll look it up when you give your 10.
Yeah.
But she is always this outrageous, off the wall character.
And she's a great actress, dude.
And
She's
she-
like really good in everything.
And she can, but she's like, there's like a strength to her, and she really does that well as a campaign manager in this case. And I just every time she's so over aggressive. She obviously sleeps with Chris Traeger,
right?
She
right in the supply closet.
Yeah, she's just it doesn't care.
Your crack research team looked it up.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you,
Catherine Hahn.
That's
Catherine
it. Yes.
Hahn. There we go.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm a big Catherine Hahn fan in general, so there may be a little bias there, but I appreciate.
No, she's great. I like that. That's a good choice. I went with Craig Middlebrooks, played by Billy Eichner at number 10.
Okay, I think
wasn't a big fan of his at first because I just didn't understand the direction that he was taking with it, and I found that like upward inflection and flying off the rails like,
What are you
kind
talking
of annoying.
about with the inflection?
Yeah, exactly. But then it grew on me. Then I kind of understood it, and then like it became funny to me. And then seeing Billy Eichner do like Billy Eichner on the street.
Yeah.
With Amy Poehler, like Christmas caroling with Amy Poehler, like that's hysterical. Like he's really funny.
He is funny. Yeah.
So he worked his way into my heart.
He was much better in the second season when he had that. What was it? The mechanism to calm himself down that I was just making fun of. Solid pick, Wes, at number 10. I think it's a good choice. He was on my short list, but he didn't make the cut. I'm assuming Jen Barkley did not make your top 10.
No, she did not. But that was a good choice though. She was a thought.
Okay, number 9 for me. You already said you don't like him that much. Chris Traeger. I already made my case for him before. I just think that as someone who tries to be healthy, I appreciate the poking of the fun
and the microchip. Like he does have some good lines. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
and like the stop pooping when everyone's sick.
Yes, he just gets so friggin' miserable, and it's just a reminder that like so many people who try to do the health nut stuff, there, as much as I try and do it, there it's definitely to help deal with other things and distract you from your other frustrations that you have going on in life. And I think that Chris Traeger is just a pretty good caricature of that.
Again, I think he gets a little crazy towards the end.
Yeah.
Before they get rid of him and Anne, he's going through therapy and like he's just like a nut job.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why I think it's so funny, because I think that it's a caricature, but it's not like with a caricature. There's some level of truth to it.
Yeah,
and I think that's why I appreciate it.
Yeah, listen, it's really tough for me to come up with characters and things that I hate about this show because I really do love it. Like I think I might have said this before in the podcast. Like when I put that on or I put The Office on, like I feel like I'm hanging out with my friends.
Yes, you said that.
I'm just like in their world, just watching them kind of do it. Number 9 for me is Pawnee's own Joan Calamezzo. Played by Maureen Collins.
I remember you told me leading up to this that she was someone who
she is a delight. Let me tell you, just fantastic. Like watching her slowly spiral out of control is a thing of beauty. She comes from she starts off as like a Barbara Walters type, and then just immediately turns into like like a celebrity that's gone like spiraling out, like the Britney Spears saga or something like that when she's like shaving her head off. She's just a drunk pill popping mess. I have some best moments when she's drunk at lunch with Ben and Tom, and she leaves to go powder her nose and quote other things, and then Ben asks, like he's like almost scared. He's like, "Does she mean she's gonna go powder her vagina?" And everything like she tries to like uncover all these scandals during the Harvest Festival in season 3. And then she just has this one. I forget what scene this. I just remember this quote. They're just got done filming Pawnee today, and she goes to Leslie. She goes, "What did you just pull out there? You don't do that to me. This is Pawnee effing today." Like how big of a deal people take the community access television. Like I just love her. She's great. She also does have a bunch of tasteful nudes in her bedroom. Like all these like nude portraits of her.
That's right. I forgot about that. I can see how she right up your alley, Wes. She's good. That's a good pick, though.
That's a strong pick, I think.
So that's your number 9?
Yeah.
That is a good 9. My number 8 is nothing too flashy. I think that this is kind of right where she belongs. I don't know how you feel about her, though, Wes. April Ludgate.
I like April. I toyed about putting her. I left her off the list.
Really?
But I like her. I like her on there. Yeah.
There are times where I am like, do we really need April in that moment? But I do. But there are very few times. I think by and large, her comedy, she works well with Ron.
Yeah.
I think her
and Andy are a great relationship.
I mean, it's just complete opposite. Same with her and Leslie too.
Mm-hmm.
I almost don't like it when Leslie gets her to be productive, because I think that whenever April is just miserable, ruining everybody's life, her versus Anne is great.
At the best, yeah.
Yes, her versus Anne, I think, was her at her best, 100%.
And I appreciate her dry sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
Deadpan humor and everything like that. Like, yeah, great stuff.
I don't know how you just... Yeah,
I'm a big fan. That was maybe
character.
An oversight on my part.
But I don't know necessarily. Like, if you said she's your number 11 or 12, I'd say okay.
Yeah.
I think like 8 to 12 range, she considering all the characters, is a fair spot.
It's a lot to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
My number 8 was Leslie Knope. You can't have the show without her. That's my take on it. I know you might have said otherwise. And again, I kind of touch on moving away from that Michael Scott character that they tried to like peg her in. But I loved her in the season 2, episode 10, Hunting Trip, when she goes through a slew of stereotypical reasons for shooting Ron in order to convince the sexist park ranger it was her fault. And she just goes through and says, I'll let my emotions get the best. And it's like all these like quick cut takes, you know, and it's like, I'll let the emotions get the best of me. I was walking and felt something icky. I thought there was going to be chocolate. I'm wearing a new bra that buttons in the front and it popped off and it startled me. All I want to do is have babies. I'm pretty much good at tolerating pain. I'm bad at math, and I'm stupid. Yeah, I'm just like saying all these like horrible things that like people assume about women.
I think that, look, I said it before, that all the characters except for one were necessary to the show. I still think she was necessary to the show.
Yeah,
100%. She just wasn't for me. That's all it came down to. So that's your number 8.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm paying attention to the clock right now, and we are.
We're gonna have to run through it. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't want to waste.
I
don't want to. So, all right, I'm gonna go through my 7 through 1, and then we'll pick through it after. So I have Tammy 2 as my number 7.
Do you really? That's my number 7.
Get out!
I swear to God. Yeah.
Yes.
She's great.
We don't agree often, but wow. Wow. Okay. Number 6, you said she's not on your list either, for sure. Donna Meagle.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 for me is Jeremy Jam. Number 4 is Gary Gergich. Whatever.
Larry.
Gary. Yeah, whatever. I'm surprised he never got Harry.
Yeah.
Number 3, I might find this weird. John Ralphio is my number 3.
John Ralphio's my number 3.
Yes.
In my opinion, the best side character of the show.
Okay, I'm guessing that number 2 for you is going to be, well, I won't take that away from you. My number 2 is Andy Dwyer. My number 1 is Ron Swanson. Wes, you have Tammy 2 at 7, and then from there you have?
Our lists are very similar. I have number 6, Jeremy Jam.
Okay.
Great foil to Leslie Knope. Bobby Newport, played by Paul Rudd. Also a great foil, great counterpart to Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Haverford, number 4. Jean Ralphio, number 3. Andy Dwyer, Ron Swanson.
Okay, so we have the same top 3, and then we also share number 7. How the hell is Gary not in your list?
Because he's not doing much. Most of the stuff is he's reacting to. Like, most of the time, like,
people
they're
react
just
to
making
him.
fun of. Yeah, exactly. But he's not because he's doing it, just because he's the butt of the joke.
Right, but at the same time, he has to play this like nice, unassuming guy who just has bad luck every so often.
The way I
gets dumped
framed
on
this
for
whole
no reason.
Well, the way I framed this whole argument was that if I could only have 10 characters from Parks and Rec to fulfill Parks and Rec, like, what would be my ideal version of it? There's some great moments with Gary where he's like, or when he breaks his arm and he says "twout," and then he rips his jeans and farts, and then he says my marble's full of mouths, and like he just has all these moments. And they're trying not to make fun of him.
Yeah.
And then like they all go back, but it's always the other people who are like making the joke. Like Ben Wyatt has this reoccurring thing where he just doesn't understand why Christy Brinkley's like married to Gary Gergich.
You know what's funny? I didn't put Ben Wyatt on my 5 worst. He probably deserves to be on my 5
like
worst.
I like him, but he's like, he's
I could probably slide him ahead of Leslie as my number 2.
But there's this great moment where he's talking to the camera and he's like, was she a Russian spy and then just didn't want to go home? Like, you just can't, like,
Oh yeah.
was she hit on the head and then, or like,
Gail, right?
yeah. Was she had a hypnotist show and they just never woke her up?
Yeah, and then his daughter too. Obviously,
Right, all three of them, they're all gorgeous.
Millicent's the one though that we see a little bit more of. But I look. The thing is that he was believable as that guy who everybody pokes fun at. And he doesn't. I mean, like, yeah, he screws up, but it's like he can't fight back at the same time because he's not that bright. I mean, if you like, they tried to make Tom the new Jerry,
right?
Like, yeah, I might have appreciated it because of where we were in the show and because I didn't like Tom, but. If you started things out with him there, it wouldn't have made sense.
No, and you need someone who can take it.
Yeah, exactly. And like Andy, like Chris Pratt, he wouldn't have made sense there.
Right.
So,
well, I think maybe a good use of the rest of this time would be to go over our bottom three, our last three. Oh, that's all the same.
Right.
Right. So, like, what do you love about John Ralphio?
Was so dumb. And the reason I like, so I feel like me liking him and not liking Tom would not make sense to most people. But the thing is that I feel like Tom tried to take this whole thing on, like, I am a hard worker. I do put in the time. And I felt like it took forever for him to actually be that way.
Yeah.
I feel like he was all talk, no walk. John Ralphio is...
You knew from the get-go that he's a freeloader.
he's just along for the ride. And he knows it, too. Like, he totally rocks it and owns it, and he doesn't care.
Oh, the singing's great.
Oh,
but he, like, I wrote down, like, he's the Jamal Crawford. Like, he's the sixth man off my team.
He does that stupid hand thing when he sings, too.
It's fantastic.
I know it doesn't play well on the audio portion.
I probably should have put him one, to be honest with you. But I don't think I could justify it with the other two. But there's this one scene where he's in it for, like, 30 seconds. This when Chris Traeger and Ann Perkins go to their father's house, who's the doctor for their baby, and John Ralphio comes up, and he just dominates this, like, 30-second scene. I got the quote here, and he goes, hey, what's up, beautiful? Jean Ralphio, I live in the guest house. Let's say you and I get together in a special way. And then when she goes, I'm pregnant, he goes, oh, the more the merrier. And then when Chris goes, with my baby, he goes, you can come too, beautiful. Would you look at that? I guess sometimes I call men beautiful. I guess that makes me open-minded as hell. I think you're pretty good looking. And then, like, goes to his dad, like, 20 seconds later. He goes, have a good day at work, Daddy. Also, if you haven't already noticed, there's a malfunction with the TV where it keeps ordering porno, like a ton of porno. Like, how can someone watch that much porno in one sitting? But only when you're out of the house. So if you see anything, that's why, okay? Like, it's like a 25, like a tour de force. He just kills it. It just owns the whole scene.
Every time he's on camera, it's hilarious.
He kills it.
Laugh out
Heat
loud
check
moments.
every time.
Every single time.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Or Andy Dwyer.
I think that obviously he gets a lot more screen time than John Ralphio. But the percentage of times that he is funny too, it's not that far off.
Very high average with a high OPS.
Exactly. And for how many ABs he's getting, it's like, how can you not respect that? He just, I mean...
It's Ichiro Suzuki, early 2000s.
With power.
With power, yeah.
Yes. He's just so friggin' funny every single time. And I'm sure you have some good examples to rip off.
Yeah, well, I also know... the first thing I say is I'm not one of these people, but... Fat Chris Pratt is like the guy who guys are okay with their girlfriends liking, like having a crush on. Julia, I love you. Kind of ruined it for me because now she's like perks up every time like Chris Pratt. Oh, is that Chris Pratt? And she'll never come out and say it either. You know, she'll just say that like question, which is enough of an answer for me, you know. Yeah. Oh, is that Chris Pratt on screen? She'll be looking down, and I'm like, I hate this guy now. But I love him. Like, I hate it. You know?
I've never had that before. I've never heard that. That's funny.
One of my favorite quotes that came off memory is when he's trying to figure out what's wrong with Leslie when Leslie's sick. And he says, hey, Leslie, I typed your symptoms into the computer, and it looks like you have network connectivity issues, which is just a great quote there. Ron Swanson, I mean...
Number one with
the
a friggin' bullet.
Man.
So I ended up doing a thing on the on Screen Rant for what was it the Ron Swanson Pyramid of Success, and just I'd never gone through the full list, like just top to bottom
of like all the quotes that he says.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you could have like a day calendar of ripping them off.
I have a coffee
quotes.
mug.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's just the dude is nonstop hilarious, and I just appreciate how he is just straight faced, 100%.
Oh yeah.
All the time, like just. And honestly, I appreciate some of the morals that he sticks to.
Yeah,
as ridiculous as he can.
He's
be.
a man. He's a man who believes in the things that he believes in.
Now, for the most part, I appreciate him for his humor. But in season 7, when he takes on that drone because the Grizzle went after his son,
yeah,
and he's like, "What do you want me to do?" I was just like, "Yes!" Oh, that was great. I was so fired up in that moment.
So I was trying to think of maybe a manlier man on television. And the only one that came to mind is Tim the Toolman Taylor. Yeah, and that's the only one. But I think it's Ron Swanson. But a couple things. So this is what I have. He's a bacon-loving, work-hating, Scotch-slugging, tough SOB. He's often the voice of reason of the bunch.
True.
Except right after he gets laid, or when he clams up in the presence of award-winning chair makers. Or chugging snake juice. Like, those are the 3 bugaboos for him.
Snake juice will do that to a human.
A couple quotes that I have here. There's only one thing I hate more than lying. Skin milk, which is water that's lying about being milk.
Fun fact,
Very
Ron
true.
Swanson, the Swanson Pyramid of Success, points out twice to stay away from skin milk.
Really?
Yes. Skin milk, not skin milk.
Fishing relaxes me. It's like yoga, but I still get to kill something. Clear alcohol is for rich women on diets. Dear frozen yogurt, you are the celery of desserts. Be ice cream or be nothing. There's this great scene where he orders.
How about when he does yoga before you go into that? How about when he does yoga with Chris Traeger? And he's like, "What were you thinking about?" Nothing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I have to talk to my therapist about that.
It took me years to be able to accomplish that type of focus. What were you going to say?
He orders at a restaurant. The server tells him that he ordered a party platter, and he replies, "I know what I'm about, son."
Or how about when the I'll take all your bacon and eggs, and he's okay. Well, no wait, I want to make sure you heard me clearly.
Yeah, I'm worried that you didn't hear me.
I want all your bacon and eggs.
Right.
Or how about when he's with Chris and I think with April. And they go to the Whole Foods like knockoff, and he takes the vegan bacon.
Oh,
and
yeah, he keeps dot.
Can I have a piece? Thank you. Throws it out. Another, please. Throws it out. Another. I'm sorry, sir. I don't think I keep giving it to you.
The last one I have is I like
problem?
Andy. I'm surrounded by a lot of women in this department, and that includes the men. Which is that's a good one there too.
And how about when he gets when Andy finds his bunion?
Oh,
when he's
right. He thinks he's having like a sexual experience or something.
It's so weird.
I know.
That was the weirdest. That might have been the weirdest Ron
Oh,
moment.
that was great.
That
That's
and
good stuff.
him with dreads. But yeah, I mean, you could have made a whole spinoff of like Ron.
And it's so tough to narrow down the quotes, right?
Can I share my favorite Nick Offerman story?
Yes.
I think I've told you guys both this before, but just for the benefit of the audience, I'm a big fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of one of the episodes, they always have the end thing there, and it says Fremulon. I'm like, wow, that sounds like Nick Offerman. So I take my phone, I open up my browser, and I type in, does Nick Offerman say Fremulon? And it takes me to a website, does Nick Offerman say Fremulon.com.
Wow.
And I click on the website, and the only thing on the entire website is one word in the middle of the page. Yes. Whoever thought of that, genius.
Yeah, genius use of GoDaddy.com, right?
A ton of time on there.
Good little tidbits that were picked up from that reunion that we discussed earlier at the top of the episode, or top of this topic. The literally quote from Chris Traeger is actually derived from Rob Lowe and having a conversation with Michael Schur, the creator of the show. When he started a story, he said, "I was literally on a yacht." And then that's how it spun out of there.
Okay.
And then in regards to Ron Swanson, the scene where Mark Burdanowitz goes to test his workshop and make sure it's up to code is based off of one of the writers really visiting Nick Offerman's workshop. So like Nick Offerman is really like a woodsman, is really good at crafting and carving, creating stuff with wood, and he's like a real man's man. It's like that's like not really him, but that's derived from him.
He has a website where he sells stuff that he makes in his wood shop.
So one of the gifts at the end of the reunion was like wood from the set, and everyone got a carved out paddle that had the seal of approval, the city seal of Pawnee on there, and he gave it to all the cast and crew and everything.
That's
so
pretty awesome.
Pretty cool little moment there.
That
is
pretty awesome. So I think that wraps things up for the main event. We got a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
We got the 2v1 and what's been on your mind. Which one do you want to do first, Wes?
Let's do the 2v1.
2v1. This week we had, honestly, this one came, most of these come out of nowhere for me, but I like this matchup a lot. We had
I like it too, yeah.
Gandalf versus Yoda versus Dumbledore. So, Wes, do you want to go first, or should I throw it over to Tim first?
Let's throw it over to Tim.
Tim.
This one's real easy for me.
Okay.
I will have Yoda on my side fighting the other two because I've never seen Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings.
Well, that's your loss. Why would you... You know nothing about Gandalf?
I know a little bit, and I still know enough that Yoda would kick both their asses.
All right.
Now, is this magic included?
Everything, dude. It's everything. It's what makes Yoda.
You can never
Yoda.
have magic versus magic. Magic versus magic tends to cancel itself out.
Oh, you be a little creative one
step
time.
outside
You
the
believe in the
box.
friggin' paranormal.
That was a direct shot at me. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I ever tell you how boring of a game baseball is?
No, I never heard that before. Ooh, real original.
Oh, well, neither so is ghosts aren't real.
I didn't see this.
But that's
There's a good thing there's a desk between you two right now.
Well, Wesley, he's not sitting in your seat now. I don't have to be nice to him.
no. I would honestly say that I think that Yoda is pretty much the ultimate badass of the universe. So he would have been my pick no matter what.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Wes, what do you got?
Well, I'm a big... I read most of the books from Harry Potter before they got bigger than the Bible.
I thought you read all of them.
No, I did not read all of them. I read most of them. They got bigger than the Bible, and I think there's only one book that should be that big.
The Bible?
The Bible, yeah.
Okay.
Based off our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ's life. Yeah.
Spare me, all right? You went to Catholic school. That's great.
Well, yeah. You know,
Did you still believe in God after that? 'Cause I know
be on the right side of history, you know?
Yeah, okay.
When judgment comes, you know, will you be ready to atone for your sins?
Okay. Can you make a pick for me?
Sorry, Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
Big Harry Potter fan as a kid. The guy was badass. And he's got a phoenix hanging in his office. Like,
Oh, this makes things easy for me. Okay, well, I know that I won this week already because Gandalf the Grey would kick both your asses. Never mind Gandalf the White, who I'm taking in this fight. And that rhymes, not deliberate.
yeah. Well,
I didn't know there was two Gandalfs.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because Gandalf the Grey dies
Still
because
doesn't matter.
he's fighting the Balrog. Look, Yoda, yeah, he has his cool little tricks or whatever, but Gandalf has fought masses of orcs. He's taken on Sauron. Now he's lost against the Sauron when he was the necromancer in The Hobbit. In the movie version, I don't think that happens in the book. I can't remember. I read it as a kid, but he takes on all these crazy, powerful monsters and puts up a fight against them. He ends up beating the Balrog,
Right.
Obviously, after they fall down the whatever that is.
Now, how does Gandalf the Grey die?
He dies, I think, because in that fall, I think they fell and then they both went into purgatory and then he was brought back to life.
Okay.
But in the battle, he still beats the Balrog. You're telling me Yoda's going to beat the Balrog?
Well, now that I give some thought about this, like Dumbledore gets killed by Draco, Yoda just dies of old age.
Well,
so,
that's something to be said about that for Yoda.
Well, Draco,
Which is like 800 years old.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I mean.
Because Gandalf goes to the what is it?
But
the
Gandalf
haven.
and Dumbledore both die in battle. Yoda's never been bested in battle, has he?
Not that I'm aware of.
But consider who.
I think I'm leaning towards Yoda now.
I think that there's only one wrong answer in this, personally, and I thought it was Dumbledore. And we actually did have somebody weigh in on it, and I gotta be quick about that because we are almost out of time.
Yeah.
Because Tim has his show tonight for those listening on the live stream, Midnight in the Desert. But I have been promising that if someone it was from the Amalgam show, Yoda would try to be carried around while carrying out murder, which I don't know what that means, and Gandalf would make a joke about how useless we are at our job, so I'll stick with Dumbledore for all the magic and skills he's got.
Well, listen, he's got some skills, he's got some magic, he does get killed by a teenager.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
Now, whether or not he allows himself to be killed, that remains to be seen, but we're digressing here, right?
Quickly on my mind.
Yes.
I'm just going to say quick, I finally watched Castlevania on Netflix. Very quick show. There's only 8 episodes in the second season. I think it's like 4 in the first season.
Okay.
Half hour long max. I think it's like 24, 25
Bingeable.
minutes.
I like it.
Bingeable. Very, very, very violent cartoon.
Okay.
I really liked it. If you like vampires, I think you'll like it. And it's funny you brought up the Catholic Church being on the right side of history. If you watch that, you'd be kind of sick of the Catholic Church after watching that.
But you just got to watch the news, really, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Aside from March Madness, Arrested Development Season 5 is out. Good, not great so far. what was once a show jam-packed with jokes that you wouldn't find until the third or fourth rewatch is now just kind of like, meh. Now I'm just going through it because I like the show. And it just doesn't hit as much anymore.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's good, not great.
I haven't watched Arrested Development.
It's a fantastic show. That is not going off Netflix.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. So I'll have to make some time for that. But in terms of where people can find us, look, you guys know we'll
anywhere you listen to podcasts,
leave a rating and review. We would really appreciate that immensely. You can find us on Twitter at Change My Mind Pod, and again, you can only watch us on the WBSM YouTube channel. And I think that's pretty much everything, right, Wes?
Yeah. Next week to be determined.
That's a
or
good
maybe
point.
Shazam. Does that come out this weekend?
I think it comes out.
Time is tough.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's a big tease.